see?
I can see only the first one.
Right. Okay, yeah.
Sadashiv Samarambha Shankaracharya Madhyama Asmadacharya Paryantam Vande Guru Paramparam. Shruti Smriti Purana Alayam Karunalaya Namami Bhagavad Shankaram Lokashankara Shankaram Shankaracharyam Keshavam Badharayana Sutra Bhashya Kritau Vande Bhagavantam Punah Punah Om Sahana Bhavatu Sahana Bhunaktu Sahaviryam Karvavahai Tejasvi Mavadhitamastu Madhikvishvavahai Om Shanti Shanti Shanti.
37 to 43.
अथ तृतीयोऽध्यायः श्रीभगवानुवाच काम एष क्रोध एषः रजो गुणसमुद्भवः महाशनो महापाप्मा विद्धेनमिह वैरिणम् धूमेनाव्रियते वह्नियः यथादर्शो मलिन च यथोल्बेनावृतो गर्भः तथा तेनेदमावृतम् ज्ञानमेतेन ज्ञानिनो नित्यवैरिणा कामरूपेण कान्तेय दुष्पुरेणानलेन च इन्द्रियाणि मनोबुद्धिः इन्द्रियाणि मनोबुद्धिः अस्याधिष्ठानमुच्यते एतैर्विमोहयत्येषः ज्ञानमावृत्य देहिनम् तस्मात् त्वमिन्द्रियान् यादौ नियम्य भरतर्षभः पाप्मानं प्रजहीहेनं ज्ञानविज्ञाननाशनम् इन्द्रियाणि पराण्याहुः इन्द्रियेभ्यः परं मनः मनसस्तु परा बुद्धिः यो बुद्धिः परतस्तु सः एवं बुद्धिः परं बुद्ध्वा संस्त्यभ्यात्मानमात्मना जहि शत्रुं महाबाहो कामरूपं दुरासदम्.
Very good. Just one thing, I think before the habit gets formed, there are a few matras that are getting missed. Like yesterday also I said, the ukar, short ukar should be short, long should be long. A ki matra, vigyan, nashanam. So these are few things. There was like one long O, dushpurenanalenacha, not dushpurenanalenacha. So when we tend to hurry up, sometimes we are missing out on the matra. Then it becomes ashuddhucharan. It's okay as long as our interest is in the meaning, but we'd rather, having put so much effort and you're doing so well, that little improvement can also be taken care of.
Then
Then it'll kind
I
of
didn't
come as close as possible to whatever is. Then there's just one aspect left. Sometimes the Mahaprans get missed out, but that's like the next stage. Once this gets done, then emphasize on the Mahapran. And then sometimes there are Sanyukta Aksharas which need a little emphasis. That part will be left, and then it's a perfect chanting. So, congratulations, very well done. Thank you.
I will take care of it.
Wonderful, very good. Yes, so we are concluding a very important topic again. Third chapter is extremely valuable and extremely essential to know for anyone who is seeking, I will say, moksha, who seeks the higher, who seeks even relative peace. कर्म योग का ज्ञान अपने आप में ही जानना सही तरीके से किसको कर्म योग कहते हैं, what is called कर्म योग, to know that first clearly itself is a great पुण्य. पुण्य का ही लाभ है ये. To know it correctly, underlining it, to know it correctly. And how do we know it correctly? As close to the text as we are able to follow. Bhashyams we are doing because it helps us to not superimpose our own mental meanings, our own subjective notions, our own subjective inclinations. हमें जो सही लगता है. There is a very deep-seated gravitation that we all have towards our own natural inclinations. So whatever we hear which falls according to that, that seems to be the right thing. So we tend to only take in the knowledge that we are already inclined towards. To prevent all these things, these are obstacles from the Vakta standpoint. Vakta means the speakers, the Acharya's standpoint. If there are these obstacles within the Acharya's standpoint, within the Vakta standpoint, then naturally the knowledge is not a praman. To bring it as close as praman, giving it the value of a meaning which has been derived and has proved itself to be in alignment with what the Shastra says. It has proved itself to be able to handle the Purva Pakshas. It has proved itself ultimately to keep people on the path of their spiritual journey, on the path of Shreyas, on the path of unfoldment of Atma, coming closer to one's own nature. Therefore, a lot of care is accepted and taken, is even is a part of the process of learning, teaching and learning, where the right meaning has to be discerned without one's own ragadvesh and without one's own subjectivity imposed in it. So to arrive at what is the real knowledge, what is truly called Karam Yoga, without the Shastra's help, it is not possible to come to this understanding. And why do I say it is very essential and very important? Because it's the first step to the entire spiritual journey. Karam Yoga is very underplayed or undermined or underspoken of, under highlighted by the teaching faculty sometimes, because in Vedanta our attention is naturally so more on Jnana Yoga, Viveka, Atma Gyan. But as we see, Bhagavad Gita is a Prakarna Grantha. In that sense, it's a Smriti Grantha, but it is also binding us not just with Atma Vidya, but with that knowledge which will qualify us for Atma Vidya. To presume that I am ready for Atma Vidya is a flaw in thinking. Generalizing it. And we are in a general format. So generalizing it may be specifically exceptions could be there. But it's safe to conclude that uh, we are not ready for, not ready is a wrong word. We still need to qualify for Atma and Atma Viveka. And what is the way to qualify for it? That way is starting point is Karam Yoga. And that is what the whole third chapter has unfolded to us. We are concluding that now. In this last section of this chapter, Arjun's question is again and again we are repeating, highlighting so that we get the gravity of the importance of the question. I keep maintaining throughout when I take classes, my first thing is आंसर को समझने की चेष्टा बाद में करना. पहले जो शास्त्र में प्रश्न आया है उस प्रश्न को अपने से जोड़ के रखो. Means understand the question, identify with the question, locate in yourself, is this your jignasa? Is this your prashna? Do you also think like that? Can you own up that question? If you own up the question, then the unfoldment in the form of answer is very easy. It's like a jigsaw puzzle. If the first piece is placed properly, you can possibly place the entire picture because the first piece is correct. So the first piece here is your Karam Yoga. If the Karam Yoga falls in a life, in any life, what is it that is preventing that? That's the question Arjun has asked. If Karam Yoga falls in any life, the rest of the steps will automatically flow in that direction. जब पानी बहता है सब जगह, if you do not form the, what are those called, banks, नहर के जो बैंक्स ऐसे ऐसे इकट्ठे करते हैं हम, अगर आप बाढ़ का पानी है, it's flooded everywhere. How will you prevent flooding? You have to channelize the water. When you channelize the water, to channelize it, you need banks. Banks have to be made. Or naturally, whatever is available. That's why rivers take a course along the mountains, because mountains serve to be the banks. And they have all kinds of gati till it reaches the ocean. That banking system, which if it is formed, then the gati will be straight towards Atma Vidya. What are these banks? That banking system is Karam Yoga. Karam Yoga is where Gita becomes extremely valuable as a piece of ज्ञान. क्या है ये कर्म योग? बिकॉज जब जानते हैं, सही जानते हैं, तब हम उस पे बदलाव कर सकते हैं. We will be able to make a change in ourselves. So now he said, what is it that is preventing me from doing it when I know it? I know that Shastra, like I said yesterday, our life is valuable only for Atmagyan. No other prayojan. Take it or leave it. The day it strikes to us, something shakes us in us, shakes us. There is no other purpose to this life, to any human life. No other purpose, period. You cannot say, but can this be added? But can I not, at least my family, at least my children, at least my grandchildren, at least my partner, at least my money, at least my property, at least my status, at least my knowledge that I've acquired through schooling and so much effort I have put. Very recently, I saw just a heading of a clip, when you're trying to even post the YouTube का whatever classes ka information. Even then, that heading comes, news heading. There was this news heading of a girl. She's NASA, uh, handwritten codes, and it's a huge pile of. If anybody's seen that, it's a huge. It's almost a pillar of thick books that she has handwritten, of how much codes have gone. The astronauts have, how much have they made, written those codes physically. She's copied it by hand, and it's more than her height. It goes, they can, it's more than that height, and she's standing in front of it. I think Obama's behind that. Now, so much knowledge she's written by hand. It's beautiful. It's very touching to see somebody's put in so much effort. Yes, that knowledge probably is helping the following generations in taking science forward, no doubt about it. But even that knowledge, when it comes to Brahma Vidya, when it comes to what is the purpose of human life, is that the purpose of human life? Ultimately, good, you directed it better than spend not doing. She's far, far, far greater in life and position, that she had so much desire and passion for it, that she could write by hand. And they're thick ones, they're not like thin patli kitabe, they're thick books, handwritten. It's inspired me a lot, because in tradition, actual tradition, years ago, before all this easy way of learning came about, we are all in the easy stage of learning. And as Kali Yuga comes, probably it's only get easier and easier. Therefore, there will be less digestion of knowledge, because the availability of knowledge will become easier. But in those days, the students were first made to, when writing started. Before that, it was all Shrotra. You could not even depend on anything written. There was nothing called writing. It had to be all memory based. You had to only first keep, like we said, ucharan of the words. You were taught all auxiliary subjects like grammar, nyaya, etc., mimamsa. Having taught all those subjects, Vedanta was one of the last ones to come. For a few years on the on go full time, people were put, children especially, because it started early. People were put, they were made, when writing started, when our capacity to remember dropped, we became more involved in the external world, writing started, then they were made to write all the texts. Write, it's like, write the moolam of the text. When you write the moolam of the text yourself, there is a certain kind of a feedback that comes to one. This feedback is extremely helpful, because it is going to form a layer of impression in the subtle body. आप शास्त्र लिख रहे हो, उसने codes लिखे. She's written all physics based codes, astronomical codes. What has it done? It's left an impression. That desire to explore space will only get stronger. It'll become stronger and stronger. Yes, no doubt, maybe in coming times, she might bring up a huge discovery which will be very helpful for mankind, if her idea is that this knowledge should help mankind. It should take our knowledge further. If that's her idea, very likely, because that's the perseverance with which she has pursued her desire. Pursuing your desire. What is the human worth? When we understand that the human worth is purely in knowing how to unwind the layers that we have added on us. Now, however correct this may appear, that so much of coding has been done, or she's written, उसके अंदर कौन सा एक आभास या आरोप हो जाएगा. What is a layer of arop? Arop means superimposition, that would have got in continuity in her subtle body. What is the layer of arop? Is my question clear? If I'm so persistently, dedicatedly writing, pursuing my astronomical knowledge, and I am also able to uh, I'm also able to contribute back. By doing this, I have added a layer to my subtle body. What is that layer I have added? Or I have strengthened? May not have added it, could be continuity of a past yearning. What is the layer that is added?
Mamatva, maybe.
Mamatva, okay.
Many, yeah. Many, yeah.
No, that is possible, but as a sense of identity, what is she identified with? Is anybody having a problem also connecting still? What is that a layer that can be added? Very important. I am के आगे क्या लग जाएगा?
I am doing.
All right. What is the identity that you have formed? What are the roles that you play? What is the adhyaropan on the individuality?
Uh,
No one? Nowhere? No one? Maybe my question's not clear. If I have pursued a specific branch of knowledge, even our astronauts say we are sticking to that. No, no. In this context, dedicatedly pursued and successfully also. What have I concluded of myself? Who am I?
that like that astronaut, my identity has become. I've become like my identity's got linked with that. What
Exactly.
I'm doing.
That's the Aropan. So I may call myself a scientist, I may call myself a researcher, I may call myself an explorer. I have strengthened a layer of an identity on who my natural nature, which is Atma, is. I've superimposed it. Now, if I am a cobbler and I make designer shoes by hand, oh, who's that? Jimmy Choo. What is Jimmy Choo? Shoes and bags. Very good. Very accepted in the society. Now, आरोपण है ना, डिजाइनर का आरोपण है. Whatever noble you may also do in the world, the carry forward of it is going to be an identity that I have strengthened. But what is Shastra telling us? Why is Karam Yoga so essential? Because it is the first step which is going to help us to erase these multiple identities that we live with. Janma Janmantar, we are only carrying these multiple identities. That's the whole point. Because we carry them, we are continuing with them. So if I am doing a research work, I will only get a better researcher next life. I probably have stronger inclinations and go on, go on, go on. I may win a Nobel Prize in physics one time. Great. But is the universe ever going to come to a point where your knowledge will become firmly concluded? No. What we know about the universe is never going to be completely unfolded as if now you have reached the end of the knowledge, because while you are unfolding, there are new things that are emerging, changing. The universe is constantly going to keep changing, the creation is changing, and however much knowledge you've acquired, after a few years it becomes redundant. Yes, sure enough, it is helping human being to become better thinkers, but in the external world. But it is not helping us to handle our samsari minds, our stresses and strains and attachments and fears and phobias and insecurities, the ones that are keeping us suffering. They are not reducing by all this knowledge. They are not reducing by all this advancement that we are doing. So while we are concluding one very important chapter, I'm repeating it before I conclude it. Chapter 2 gave us the entire overview of what is the spiritual path according to Vedic knowledge. Vedas are not Paurushaya, they're Apaurushaya. Along with creation, just as law of gravity, nobody is made. There is no one who has made a law of gravity. You find law of gravity in creation. In the same way, Vedas is not someone's manokalpatam. You find this knowledge available along with creation. It is Anadi, it is Anant. In that sense, the topic becomes Anant. That knowledge, the whole path was given in second chapter, Pravritti and Nivritti. Third chapter, he's concentrating. Third, fourth, and fifth chapters of the Gita, Krishna is concentrating. I should actually say Vyasa and Krishna is concentrating on giving us the technique with which you can now start at least have the eligibility of dissolving these layers of identities that we live with. और इसकी पहला कदम ज्ञान है और सही ज्ञान है. दैट नॉलेज शुड बी विदाउट डाउट्स. आपको कोई गलत रास्ते नहीं लेके जाना चाहिए. वो ज्ञान आपके अंतकरण को वो शुद्ध करने का माध्यम बनना चाहिए. आप अगर उस ज्ञान को फॉलो करो तो आपका अंतकरण शुद्ध होना चाहिए. देन यू कैन से दिस नॉलेज इज राइट. एंड व्हाट इज अंतकरण शुद्ध होना? अंतकरण शुद्ध होना मीन्स me finding myself established, freeing from desires, freeing from ragadvesh, freeing myself from the hold of egoism, attachments, whatever you want to term them as. One word of it all was calm, desire. So Arjun had asked, and that's the question I'm saying, unless and until we are appreciating the value of that question, before I always say namaskar to Krishna and to Vyasa in giving us Shankaracharya and all these acharyas, there is a namaskar that comes to Arjun. क्योंकि अगर उसने ये प्रश्न नहीं पूछा तो हमारे अपने मन की स्थिति भी हमें समझ नहीं आती. We do not know. We don't know how to eloquently put our own state of mind. We don't know how to put our thoughts in a proper way to even wonder where the flaw lies in our thinking. Arjun has done that homework for us. Therefore, he is as important in the Shastra. शिष्य भी ऐसा शिष्य उतना ही रिस्पेक्टेबल होता है जितना आचार्य होता है उस ज्ञान का. बिकॉज उसके प्रश्न से ज्ञान शुरू हुआ है. उसका प्रश्न अगर लेजिटिमेट नहीं है, अगर प्रॉपर नहीं है, प्रमाण की तरफ नहीं है, तो उस प्रश्न से कोई प्रयोजन नहीं होगा. If he asks anything other than actually addressing avidya in the direction of avidya, that question will have no relevance to all of us. His questioning is in a way that it is so universal that it applies generation because it's addressing the universal law. Therefore, what is it that is obstructing? जानते हुए, इतना सब कुछ जानते हुए, हम फिर भी क्यों कर्म योग की निष्ठा नहीं कर सकते? And here I am once again, before I'm concluding this chapter, once again reminding ourselves, कर्म योग अनुष्ठान आधारित है. अनुष्ठान means अनुष्ठान means what does अनुष्ठान mean? What does अनुष्ठान mean?
फैसला कर लेना, दृढ़ निश्चय.
All right, दृढ़ निश्चय करके.
मतलब if you commit to it fully.
हाँ, exactly. Exactly.
It will take you to the next level if you commit
Correct.
your
So,
wholeheartedly.
absolutely. So, in other words, you have to, yes, apply it. You have to follow it. You have to follow your understanding. It is not just gyan based. It is like practicing it, correct? It is like knowing your recipe, but it is left in the recipe book. You have a great recipe book, very beautifully crafted. The best recipes in the world you have all written down by hand. बहुत आकर्षक है वो आपकी बुक, मगर सारा ज्ञान कहाँ पे है? उस रेसिपी बुक में है. It is still in the book only. It has never been brought out and put on fire. You have not brought that knowledge out into action. Karam Yog is entirely Anushtan. Shthan is, uh, Anu means follow. Follow. It's a prefix which makes follow. Stha means रहना. अनुष्ठान means आप उसमें रहते हो, follow करते हो. So knowledge of Karam Yoga is entirely Anushtan based. And in Karam Yoga also comes Upasana. So these two are not just to be known. भगवद गीता इसलिए सबके लिए कहीं ना कहीं एक ज्ञान के आकर्षक में रह जाती है, क्योंकि उसका जो तात्पर्य निकलना है. Why am I studying the Bhagavad Gita? Why do I want to know this knowledge? Why am I attending the classes? Why do I want that questions clarity should be there with me? मेरा अपना पर्पस, मेरा अपना प्रयोजन, मेरा अपना इंटेंशन मुझे क्लियर होना चाहिए. मुझे क्यों ये गीता का ज्ञान आकर्षित करता है? मैं क्यों गीता का ज्ञान जानना चाहती हूँ? Is it because I have a fascination only for Krishna, or is it a curiosity? Because if it is just a curiosity, सारी दुनिया जानती है आजकल, तो therefore let me also know. क्या फर्क पड़ता है? कुछ अच्छा ही तो है सुनने को. Let us just know. Yes, good. Of course, nobody will say it's not good. But who is the one who will benefit from the study of the Gita? We've done this before when we started the Gita. I'm just reintroducing it. Before we move to the next chapters, who is the one who benefits from the study? जो portion जीने का है, उसको कोशिश करते रहना. कब तक कोशिश करते रहना? He said here now in these concluding verses, understand that there is only one thing that you have to address amongst all the various causes. One cause, if you address, you will become steadfast. Those banks will get firm. उसके बाद आपकी गति सिर्फ आत्मविद्या की तरफ रहेगी. The right things will keep churning out, provided your step initially is right, in the right direction. That काम को अपने वश में रखना. You have to handle. Calm is the vairi. Calm is the shatru. And calm is very deep-seated. It's not easy to identify. It only gets identified when it becomes krodh or lobh or bhaya. At the level of symptoms, it gets identified. वो भी क्योंकि अब ज्ञान है हमको इसलिए, क्योंकि हमें पता है कि डिजायर से गुस्सा होता है. तो जब गुस्सा हुआ तो आई नो देयर मस्ट बी अ लिंक बिटवीन सम डिजायर बीइंग ऑब्स्ट्रक्टेड. Therefore, if I am a thinking and a carefully contemplative person, then I will go back and keep on finding which is that desire which is getting obstructed. Why did I get angry? And I will find the real nature of that desire. Is that desire dharmic, adharmic? Is it actually something that I should be tied down even now? It could be an old desire which I'm holding on, and wo aaj bhi unattended, it will continue. I can give up certain desires which are no longer relevant as you keep growing older with knowledge and physically both. As you mature in your understanding, there could be some self corrections that I can drop, but all this happens when I'm able to identify the calm through symptoms. So, what is that method with which I should hold my desire? कहाँ से पकड़ूँ? क्योंकि अंदर अपने मन की गहराई में तो मुझे देखना आता नहीं है, तो मैं कहाँ पकड़ूँ उसको? He said 3 स्थान हैं इसके, इंद्रिय, मन और बुद्धि। इंद्रिय कैसे स्थान है अपनी कामना का? क्योंकि इंद्रियों के द्वारा इंद्रिय सहारा दे रहे हैं, राग द्वेष अपनी इच्छाओं को उन विषयों की तरफ आकर्षक रहते हैं। According to my likes and dislikes, I get attracted to the objects and things in the world. My best example, I haven't found any better example because it was new at that time, when the malls had just started, and I went quite late once that started because of whatever reason. So the first time I went, I was very shocked because I didn't know the mall culture. I didn't understand what it was. I mean, we were in an ashram, and then for whatever reason, following your own practices, so you didn't want to go out. But when you went out the first time and you just looked around, it was fascinating to see so many people, so many objects. मतलब वो मुझे मेमोरी आज तक मुझे इंस्पायर करती है। मेरे थॉट्स उस वक़्त के मुझे आज भी इंस्पायर करते हैं कि मैं बस बैठ के वहाँ सोचती रही, कोई इंसान किसी चीज़ की तरफ कैसे खिंच रहा है? मैं क्यों आई इज़ अ पर्पस। कोई इंसान क्या है वहाँ पे? हर इंसान को कुछ ना कुछ fascinating और उसकी रियलिटी उसी ऑब्जेक्ट में है। In acquiring that object, if you've gone to a shopping place and there are 2 bags next to each other, there are 2 people who are equally devouring the acquisition of those 2 bags. But the feeling of wanting that different object, that expression on their face is the same. उसको वो पसंद है, उसको वो पसंद है, लेकिन दोनों को जिस ज़रूरत की एक एहसास लग रही है कि विदाउट दैट बैग माय लाइफ इज़ इनकम्प्लीट, वो दोनों में सेम है। It gives you a beautiful understanding once you have this knowledge. थोड़ा सा देख के your knowledge gets strengthened. This is what they said. इंद्रियां अपने अपने विषयों में तुम्हें आकर्षक रखेंगी, एंड जहां आपको उनमें दुख दिख रहा है विषयों में, उससे दूर रखेगी। There is no other way. It will pull you, and it will pull you away from it. Then what? मन में भी बैठा है। कैसे बैठा है? वही इंद्रियां जो लेके आई है अपने साथ विषयों को, बार बार मन उनके बारे में सोचता है। I wish I'd got that. Why did I get this? The mind is supporting the desire. It's going along with the desire that is there felt within. It is allowing those thoughts to repeat themselves. So मन उसी के ऊपर लगा हुआ है। And then बुद्धि कैसे सपोर्ट कर रही है? बुद्धि उसको जस्टिफाई कर रही है, like we said yesterday, बुद्धि उसमें गुण देख रही है। क्यों मुझे चाहिए? After all, etc. etc. गुण का आरोपण करना। आरोपण means superimpose. What is not there and you superimpose something on it. When you superimpose from your mind over here in the context, your buddhi is what is superimposing a value on the need of that object, gaining which I will become happy, happier. That whole connection, buddhi is supporting the desire. This is the way in which we move to the world. Samsar mein hum rehte hain. This is what is keeping us engaged in karmas and in our ragadvesh. Encouraging them, growing them, multiplying them, and our birth has come and our death will come. And then whatever I have collected in this lifetime will mix in my total Sanchit bank balance. And then again from there pop up another set of whatever desires fructify. From there again an environment will be provided by Ishvara's Anugrah, by that karma phala, and I'll be born there to actually help me get continuity in my life of wisdom, grow out of these desires. But history repeats itself for most of us. जो इस जन्म में हम कर रहे हैं, very likely it gets repeated ahead unless and until I have put the Purusharth, like sense control, mind control, titiksha, any of these spiritual qualities, shama, dama, vairagya, pratipaksha, viveka, and all this 12, 13 chapters have given us a lot of qualities. It is going to tell us aage. Amanitvam, adambhitvam, ahimsa, kshanti, arjavam, any of the qualities. Anything that I have put where my Purusharth should be put, and if I put my Purusharth there in this life, then I'm thinning away to begin with these desires. Therefore, when Indriyas, senses, mind, and intellect are all supporting calm, then I am in the pravritti, आगे चल रहे हैं हम, अपनी गति को बढ़ा रहे हैं. पुनरपि जननम पुनरपि मरणम साइकिल को हम जिंदा रख रहे हैं. We are fueling it. We are giving fire to it. We are adding fire to it in this life also, because we are pursuing and strengthening our desires. But when we start reversing the process, to which he said in the 42nd verse, start seeing what is subtler than the other, what is higher than the other. Para kya hai? What is higher is subtler, is more pervasive, and is also more sukshma hai. What are the three words Shankara had used? Sukshma, Parichinna, and Abhyantara, internal. Whatever is more closer, inside, Abhyantara hai. जो भी सूक्ष्म अभ्यंतर है और जो बाह्य है, बाह्य means external. Whatever is external, that is gross. Compared to that, what is internal, that becomes subtler. And what comes internal becomes also pervasive. How? Objects are limited, they don't know themselves, और वो बस रूप और रंग and whatever they are qualified for, only that much. इंद्रिय pervades the object, इसलिए उसको उसका ज्ञान होता है, बोध होता है. इंद्रिया उतना ही जान सकती है, आंख सिर्फ हर विषय को जान सकती है, रंग और रूप को, हर रंग एंड रूप को जान सकती है, हर विषय के रंग रूप को जान सकती है. कान हर ध्वनि को विद इन दैट फ्रीक्वेंसी जो उसकी उपाधि है सुन सकता है, एक्सेट्रा. सो इट्स अ लिटिल मोर परवेसिव. बट इंद्रिय अपने आप में दृश्यम है. We saw the verse yesterday, Drik Drishya verse. विषय दृश्यम है, दृक आंख है. रूप अपने आप में, रूप means form. Form is seen. By what? Eye is the seer, आंख. Eye is seen, आंख is seen. By what? Means all the senses are seen. जाने जाते हैं. Seen means जाने जाते हैं. किससे? मन से. How is man being pervasive over the senses? Man has all the sankalpa vikalpa thoughts. Manaha sankalpa vikalpatmakam. Bhashyakara had said here, Manaha sankalpa vikalpa atmakam. We saw the definition in Tattvabodh also. What is the definition of a mind? Mind is sankalpa vikalpa atmakam. Mind has uha poha. संकल्प करता है, विकल्प करता है, this or that. So there are various thoughts, indecisive, doubts, uncertainties, all those incompleteness of thoughts. ये करूं कि वो करूं, any kind of a doubt. That is all mind. So इंद्रिया क्या क्या भोग रही है या क्या क्या विषय ला रही है, इन सब पे मन is pervasive. इसलिए it can know all the indriyas. It is also abhyantar, closer to, more inward than the senses. The senses are known by the mind. Mind itself, while knowing the senses, is also known. Therefore, though it is subtler than the senses, but by itself, the mind is also known. Known by what? Nishchayatmika buddhi. When all these sankalpa vikalpatmaka thoughts, varying thoughts that we get, when they get decided upon, इन सब में से क्या धर्म है, क्या अधर्म है, क्या सत्य है, क्या मिथ्या है, क्या नित्य है, क्या अनित्य है, क्या अच्छा है, क्या अच्छा नहीं है, क्या उपयोगी है, क्या उपयोगी नहीं. When mind has wavered, thoughts are wavering, it is mind. When I have decided on something, decided thoughts, nishchayatmika, that is buddhi. And that is more abhyantara, more inward. And therefore, it is also more pervasive. Now, what is buddhi by itself? Is it a complete knower? बुद्धि मन के बाकी सब विषयों को जानती है, लेकिन बुद्धि अपने आप से ऑल्सो जानी जाती है. निश्चयात्मिक बुद्धि जानने वाला भी तो कोई है. Who knows? Who's the one who's now controlling, acting on that निश्चयात्मिक बुद्धि? That, he says, जो जान रहा है वो साक्षी, whose acting is of course the jiva itself, identified. Ahankar is subtler, but straight away here, for the sake of prakriya, Krishna and Shankara go straight into Atma. That sakshi, with reference to all this that is seen, that sakshi का कोई और जानने वाला नहीं है. Sakshi is self-evident. Sakshi is not another quality of Atma. With reference to all seen things, it is the seer, देखने वाला. It's only an aspect to say जानना है, जाना है, knowing it. With of all these, everything is outside compared to Atma. All this that has had para, but Atma is that beyond which there is no para. It is sukshmam. It is ultimate subtle. It's the subtlest. And it is the innermost, and it is pervasive everything, pervading everything. Therefore, with the help of subtler and subtler, keep withdrawing your own engagements outside to bringing them inside. I'll repeat this. अभी हम जीव होके क्या करते हैं? इंद्रियों से जुड़ के, शरीर से जुड़ के बाहर रहते हैं. सो कामना को कैसे कंट्रोल करना है? He says, इनको धीरे धीरे अंदर लेके आओ. Reverse the direction. What is the reversal of the direction? First, starting with Indriya. Indriya आदव. इंद्रियों को विषयों का सहारा मत दो. Do not give the support of the. So if the Indriya is yearning for something, do not attach it immediately with the object. उनको प्रयास करो, पुरुषार्थ करो of nigraha, withdrawing them from the object. I gave the example of the those who become alcoholics. What do? They are taken as an extreme example only for the sake of understanding what happens to the mind when it gives into the kamna and it becomes weaker and weaker. The mind completely gets attached to the object. So when they have to go through rehabilitation, what are they told? The first thing they are told is abstain completely from even going anywhere around. Even the sight of Availability of it should not be there. Stay away completely. Abstain completely. इंद्रियों को विषयों के साथ जोड़ना ही नहीं है. वहां पुरुषार्थ डालो. Abstain, withdraw. Withdraw your senses from it. Yes, there will be suffering because अब आदत पड़ गई है. So your mind is going to ask again for that. इंद्रिया आपकी एक्टिवेट होएगी to push you into action. पुरुषार्थ क्या है? With the help of, in this program, okay, some external help, with some sort of a help you seek, and you still exert that on basis of your own understanding, higher aspect, how it is bad for me, emotional support they give you, etc. Everything that you can. But what is your first victory? They call it certain things also. I think how many dry days or something they call it. How many days, that means even after a few years, you are still susceptible to once again becoming an alcoholic if you have stayed away from it. A slight trigger can push you back. That's the power of the senses. शास्त्रों ने यही पावर किस तरीके से बताया था? By showing us one weakness of one animal. Moth has a weakness for light. So it gets attracted to light and burns itself. So each animal having one weakness. इंद्रियां हमारी इतनी बलवान है आज. We don't understand that. You see, if there is a buffet in front of us, what happens to all of us alag alag se? Only when I think I like that, rasa starts. There's actual rasa. Before I've taken it, the body is already excreted some rasa in the mouth. That rasa is telling me what? Indriya already activate ho rahi hai at the very sight and the smell of the food. That's how powerful they are. So many people have this weakness for flattery. You can win people over by just giving flattery, false flattery also. आप उस इंसान को अपनी तरफ खींच लेते हो, उसको थोड़ी सी उसकी कॉम्प्लीमेंट्स दे दो, अब वो इंसान आपकी तरफ आ जाएगा, etc. etc. So much weakness is there which we actually do not recognize. That, he says, first withdraw. इंद्रियों को विषयों से disconnect when you find yourself weak in any one of them. If they're naturally there as normal rag and dvesh, within the limit that it does not cloud your judgment of good and bad, right and wrong, those are not harmful. They are okay to be there. I'll repeat myself. Because we are today products of desires and ragadvesh, we can't handle all the ragadvesh. Not all are necessary. Only those that are clouding our sense of righteousness, our judgment of right and wrong, हमारी बुद्धि पे जो आवरण लगा देते हैं, जब वो अंकुरित होते हैं, जब कामना अंकुरित होती है और हमारे बुद्धि को आवरण कर देती है, कवर कर देती है, that's what he had said in this verse. Then we take to papacharan. So when those desires are clouding what is right to be done and what is not right to be done, and I'm not able to stop myself, those are first start. Do not give them the support of the indriya, even when the indriya is active. And scientifically, I think now studies have proved to say, I mean, it's floating that they have proved, I've heard it, to change any habit, how many days do you need to be persistent? 21 days. You need 21 days of habit, new habit to form if you have to break an old habit. 21 days, be persistent. And in 21 days, you will change a habit. That means you abstain the indriya from its objects for 21 days according to them. According to Shastra, how much will you have to abstain? Is 21 days going to be enough? Probably not. You will get some victory over it. A new habit will be formed. But if your kamna is very deep-seated, तो वो फिर अंकुरित होके उठ के आ सकती है। एंड अगर वो फिर अंकुरित होके उठ के आएगी, अगेन यू हैव टू डू द सेम प्रोसेस। टिल व्हेन? सो दैट इज एट द लेवल ऑफ द सेंसेस। हाउ विल माइंड नॉट सपोर्ट? दैट मीन्स मन आपके इंद्रियों को खींच के रख रहा है अपने साथ, विषयों की तरफ नहीं जाने दे रहा। तभी कहते हैं मन को कहाँ लगा दो? हाँ, भगवान के साथ, सत्संग में। यू स्टार्ट डूइंग, बी एसोसिएटेड विद द राइट थिंग्स। मन को उस तरफ खींच लोगे तो इंद्रियां भी उस तरफ आ जाएगी। मन को खाली रखोगे तो जहां इंद्रिया जा रही है, मन वहां जाएगा। मन को लगाए रखो हायर के साथ। Whatever way you can identify, for those, if bhajans are inspiring, whatever, मंदिर जाओ, भजन जाओ, सत्संग करो, अच्छे लोगों की कंपनी में डिस्कशंस करो, have the right conversations. Many people don't understand the value of a conversation. People are just talking in the world. बात ही करते हैं कुछ भी, जो भी मन में आ जाता है, बड़ 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 बड़. But conversations have to be very, very, they are very, conversing is an art itself. People don't know how to converse. People talk. Conversation is not known. मन को लगाए रखो in the righteous places. Therefore, even your desires, if you are a true student, धीरे धीरे आप अपनी डिजायर्स को पहचान के, अपनी डिजायर्स आपको नई बनाने की जरूरत नहीं है। आप ही के अंदर कुछ सही डिजायर्स हैं, उन डिजायर्स को मन को इनकरेज करते रहो, जो सही है, शास्त्र दृष्टि में सही डिजायर्स है। उन डिजायर्स के साथ अपने मन को ग्रो देम एंड डायरेक्ट योर सेंसेस टुवर्ड्स देम। Therefore, pull the indriyas from their objects with the help of the mind. Mind अपने आप में जहाँ संशय है, डाउट्स हैं, कभी कभी कामना उसको इतना उथल पुथल कर देता है, व्यथित करता है मन को अंदर से, अटैचमेंट्स डिस्टर्ब करती है। जब मन बिगड़ता है, यू नो हाउ वी से, मेरा मन बिगड़ गया, हिंदी इज अ गुड वर्ड, मन मेरा बिगड़ गया, मेरा मन बिगड़ गया, मन नहीं कर रहा, मन बिगड़ गया। जब मन नहीं कर रहा, मन बिगड़ गया है, all these words that we use very casually, we use sometimes, what are they all indicative of? मन अब विषयों में है। मेरी होप्स, मेरी एक्सपेक्टेशंस, मेरे को क्या मिला, मुझे क्या मिलना चाहिए था, व्हाट आई वांटेड, व्हाट आई डिड नॉट गेट, मेरा मन अब पास्ट, फ्यूचर, इन सब चीजों में बैठा हुआ है। जो उसे मिलना चाहिए था, जस्टिफाइड लग रहा था, नहीं मिला, गलत लग गया, अब मन उसको पकड़ के बैठा है। अब मन को किसके साथ जोड़ दो? बुद्धि के साथ। निश्चय करो, आर दीज थॉट्स वर्थवाइल? Are they helpful? Is the purpose of your birth to be unhappy? You are seeking happiness, then why are you sitting in unhappiness? Therefore, get over this, attach it to buddhi. But that buddhi now, what is a beautiful, why is all this Gyan Prakarnam so useful for us? इस बुद्धि को संस्कृत बनाओ। संस्कृत बनाओ means through Shastra, Acharya, Upadesha, get informed of the right things. बुद्धि समझती है, मन समझता नहीं है। समझ बुद्धि पे है, बुद्धि का उपाधि है समझना। मन को समझाना पड़ता है, मगर अगर बुद्धि में ही समझ नहीं है तो क्या समझाएगा? So in the meantime, when you do not have knowledge, for those who were seeking this, the guru, the acharya would help till the student gains the independence. बुद्धि उसके ज्ञान में है। Once the acharya has given the knowledge, अब ज्ञान प्रकरणम है, ज्ञान दे दिया है, अपनी तरफ से आचार्य ने ज्ञान दे दिया है, means now your buddhi is informed of the knowledge. Once the buddhi is informed, means यहाँ पे आप बाहर से, that's why श्रवण से अपनी बुद्धि को संस्कृत बनाओ। And once the buddhi has become informed of the right things in life, what are the right values, what are the right things, इस मन को अब इस बुद्धि के साथ जोड़ो. बुद्धि को किसके साथ जोड़ा? शास्त्र ज्ञान. Whatever Shastra is telling us. Here in the context, it's Karam Yoga, therefore Shastra is saying Ishwar and things. बुद्धि में जब ज्ञान है, तो ये जो मन जब बैठ गया है, अच्छा नहीं है, आज दिल नहीं है, और जब राग द्वेष आके करता है, even these states of mind and moods are all past effects of one's own desires. Suddenly our mind gets, अच्छा नहीं लग रहा, आज मूड नहीं है, आज मन नहीं है, अच्छा है, all that levels of tamas and level of all that just comes up. This is all our own past impressions. Therefore, मन को बुद्धि के साथ जोड़ दो कि बुद्धि जो कहे मन उसको फॉलो करे. Once this buddhi has become Sanskritam, that Sanskritam Gyan is entire Shastra Gyan is to do with you, the Atma. बुद्धि में जो ज्ञान है वो आत्मा से जुड़ गया अब, क्योंकि आत्मा का टॉपिक है. पूरे शास्त्र में टॉपिक क्या है? आत्मा. यू आर आत्मा इज द टॉपिक. दैट इज द ओनली स्टेटमेंट टू बी नोन एक्चुअली. ज्ञान पूरा एक ही स्टेटमेंट है, तत्वमसि. Am I making? ज्ञान पूरा एक ही स्टेटमेंट है, तत्वमसि. You are that Brahman. To understand is this entire vast literature that has spread. How am I Brahman? इसको जानने के लिए, ouch, इसको जानने के लिए is this entire प्रक्रिया. Karam Yoga is starting. Therefore, once the buddhi has got attached to the knowledge of the self, Atma, अंदर की अभ्यंतर हो रही है बुद्धि. धीरे धीरे जीव अंदर बैठता है. In the language of Ramana, who is more from the knowledge of vichar, more and more come closer to your observation of objective observation of this root cause. root कहाँ से उत्पन्न हो रहा है? I thought, मैं का thought. मैं भी एक thought है. कहाँ उत्पन्न हो रहा है उसको पहचान लो. Means it's become so abhyantar. You've come to the root of it. जहां ये थॉट उत्पन्न हो रहे हैं उससे जुड़ जाओ. जब वो पहचान में आता है, उससे जुड़ गए, then सत्यम, that is satyam, that is Brahman, that is anadi, anantam. All this is mithya after that, and you are free. Now you are a Jivan Mukta. You are freed of all this. Samsara gati. कामना में बैठ के कर्म करोगे, कामना में बैठोगे, तो you are going to have a chakram. And all along, Atma will be supporting this life cycles. ना जाना हुआ, ना पहचाना हुआ, लेकिन है, साथ है, उसी के प्रेजेंस में, उसी के सपोर्ट से the whole pravritti is happening. But when you know Atma, then the cycle stops. Therefore, 43rd verse he is now concluding. Evam buddhehe param buddhva samstabhyatma nam atmana jahi shatrum mahabaho kama rupam durasadam. Evam, in this manner, knowing what? Param buddhva, जानकर. क्या जानकर? That Atma is superior to, higher than higher than even buddhi. Knowing it higher than buddhi, samstabhya. Stabhya means apna anchor kar lo. Samstabhya means anchor it well, establish in it. At Atmanam Atmana. Samstabhya Atmanam Atmana. By yourself. Atmana. Atmanam. Apni Atma ko means apne man ko. That mind which is wavering and identified today with इंद्रियास, बहिर्मुख हुआ है, उसको स्तंभ कर दो. By Atmana, by your own Purusharth, by your own self, अपने ही मन को जो बुद्धि संस्कृत हुई है, उससे अपने मन को आत्मा में स्थिर कर दो. कैसे? जही शत्रुम. Destroy this Shatru. Which Shatru? Not subdue. No. Anchor. Subdue, it will rise again. So, Jahi Shatrum. Destroy it. Kill it. Initially, maybe it will help, but ultimately, now we are concluding in the context of the conclusion of the chapter. He is now restraining it. Mahabaho, you are mighty armed. You are qualified, O Arjun. Do this Shatru. Who is the Shatru? Kama Rupam. It is in the form of Kam. And what is the qualifying of Kam? Durasadam. It is very difficult to overcome. It is indeed difficult to overcome. Why is it difficult? Shankara gives us the meaning. It is very difficult to overcome because it is Durvigneya. It is difficult to know. Kamnas are difficult to know. Yesterday also we were talking, we've been saying this few days now. It's seated so deeply inside that they're difficult to know. And because they're difficult to know, they express in various ways. Aneka Vishesham. They have many kinds of special expressions. Aneka, variously they express. The desires come out in different ways. There are different desires that we have. So, evam buddhehe param atmanam buddhva, knowing that Atma is the highest, gyatva samstabhya samyak stambhanam kritva. Stambhanam अच्छे से, सम्यक अच्छे से, स्तंभनम एंकर कर लो. किस में? आत्मा में, आत्मज्ञान में. स्वेन एव आत्मना, by your own self, your own mind which is today प्राकृत, उसको बुद्धि ने जो संस्कृत ज्ञान लिया है, उस ज्ञान से संस्कृतेन मनसा, अपने मन को संस्कृत कर दो. and anchor in आत्मविद्या. Samyak samadhaya iti arthaha. Samadhana means bring the mind to the point of samadhana. So shamadama, samadhana. Uparati, titiksha. All these qualifyings that will help you because he spoke of titiksha in the previous chapter. Shamadama, samadhana. Jahish enam shatrum. He Mahabaho. Kama Rupam Durasadam Moolam. What is Durasadam? Dukkhena Asadaha. Asadanam Prapti. Difficult to get at. Dukkhena. Mushkil hai isko पहुंचना. काम तक पहुंचना बहुत मुश्किल है. Therefore, yasya tam durasadam. That which is difficult to be reached is called durasadam. Durvigneya aneka visheshamiti. It is expressing various ways, Same desire comes out in various ways. That we all know, I think. हमारी एक ही इच्छा कितने बदल बदल के रूप वही चीज मांगती रहती है बदल बदल के. It's like if I get bored of Ghia Tinda, so what do? Especially when your children are young and they don't want to have it, what do? बदल के उसका. हाँ जी.
Disguise it.
हाँ.
Disguise it.
Disguise it. Excellent word. Disguise it. Correct. This desire is disguised. Being disguised, it comes out variously. Therefore, it is difficult to overcome. Yes, but this is where the Purusharth is necessary, because once it comes to Atma, Anatma, there is no Purusharth. Once the knowledge is gained, once Karam Yoga is established in a life, that bank will straight away take you to the steps of next chapter is going to start. Karma Sannyas, Adhikari bana dega aapko, and then it will take you to the next step. Gyan Yogyata paake Gyanam ka Adhikari bana ke जीवन मुक्त कर देगा. वो अपने आप करेगा. फिर वो ज्ञान अपने आप काम करेगा. वहां पुरुषार्थ की जरूरत नहीं है. That's a very beautiful point. पुरुषार्थ कहाँ तक है? In fact, it's a great inspiration to know this. When people keep saying I get tired, I'm so tired of this samsara chakram, mein kya? Shastra says, थक तो चुके ही हो, तो पुरुषार्थ करना है तो सही जगह करो, ताकि you reach a point जहाँ पुरुषार्थ करना ही ना पड़े. You reach a point where there will be no purusharth after that useful. Entire purusharth is only in handling the mala. Mala is the ragadvesh. And vikshepa is all this distracted mind. इंद्रियों के साथ जो निकल जाता है, व्याकुल रहता है जो मन. Upasana is useful for vikshepa. Karam Yoga is useful for cleaning up the ragadvesh. Third is where Ajnanam is still there. For that Jnana Yoga. But Jnana Yoga में पुरुषार्थ कुछ भी नहीं है. पुरुषार्थ की एक सीमा है. And that also Karma Yoga gives us this beautiful knowledge. पुरुषार्थ की सीमा है. और वो सीमा है, या हम दुनिया में पुरुषार्थ करते हैं भोग में, या इसको अंदर अब अपने स्पिरिचुअल गति में पुरुषार्थ करो. कर्म योग मल हटाओ, उपासना योग विक्षेप हटाओ. ये आपके अंतकरण को मैच्योर करता है, पॉलिश करता है, साफ करता है. That brasso effect on the mind, it's tarnished by all these objects and samsara and vyavahar. आज अहम मम से tarnished है मन हमारा. With Karam Yoga and Upasana Yoga, it becomes cleaner and cleaner. Sattvic is the component of mind. The sattva starts to shine forth. The rajas and tamas are taken care of by the purusharth, Karam Yoga or Upasana. It brings you to the point where now Gyan is the pramanam, और ज्ञान में आप अपना पुरुषार्थ नहीं लगा सकते. आप श्रवण कर सकते हो, मनन करते हो, निधिध्यासन है, लेकिन इन सबको पुरुषार्थ की कैटेगरी में नहीं करते, क्योंकि इन तीनों का ऑब्जेक्टिव इज आत्मा, which is free of any change. You cannot bring about a change there. Therefore, stick to the Purusharth based prakriya, which is Karam Yoga and Upasana Yoga. O Mahabaho, overcome these desires. Before you overcome them, don't even talk of giving up the realm of action. क्योंकि आपका प्रकृति आपको बार बार उन्हीं चीजों में डालेगी. आपके ऊपर जो विचार है वही तो आएंगे. आपके अंदर जो कामनाएं हैं उसी से विचार हैं. आपके थॉट्स का बेस क्या है आज? Entirely based on your kamna. Therefore, deal with this, which is an nectar of your Atma Vidya and overcome it. You can overcome. Oh Mahabaho, even though it is difficult to reach, and it bahurupya hai ye, bahurupi hai. You know, अपना रूप बदल बदल के इच्छा आती रहती है वापस. What is that Hindi word for बहुरूपी को क्या कहते हैं? There's another word, very nice word, it conveys very well. बहु the ones जो बदल बदल के आते रहते हैं, camouflages and disguises, but there's a Hindi word, बहरूपी. बहुरूपी बहरूपी है. It changes its own colors like a chameleon. It suddenly changes colors and comes up. Stay with it. उसी में अपने आप चित्त शुद्धि होएगी. कैमिलियन. कब तक करना है ये पुरुषार्थ? जब तक कामना अंकुरित होके इच्छाओं के जैसे राग द्वेष को बना के लाइक्स एंड डिसलाइक्स और मुझे कर्म में डालती नहीं, तब तक पुरुषार्थ is only one, and that is the purpose of a spiritual life. That is what Vedas say. Human beings should have a spiritual goal and not a material goal. अगर मटीरियल गोल रखोगे जीवन में तो भटकन है. शास्त्र cannot take away your choice of life. It's your choice. If the goal of life is security, artha and kama, then Shastra can only say samsara is the gati. If your goal of life is dharma, then there's definitely going to be an advantage towards moksha. If your goal of life is moksha, you will absorb the knowledge and the sadhana immediately without wasting any time. There will be no doubts left. Therefore, O Mahabaho, that should be your purpose. Om Tat Satati Srimad Bhagavad Gita Supanishatsu Brahma Vidyayam Yoga Shastre Shri Krishna Arjuna Samvade Karma Yoga Nama Tritiyodhyayaha. We do the first verse. Okay.
Arjuna Uvacha Jayasi Chet Karmanaste Mata Buddhir Janardana Tatkin Karmani More Ma Niyojayasi Keshava.
Krishna Arpanamastu. May this knowledge bless us and keep us. And with this, we will be starting chapter 4 now. I thought we could, maybe if you can, do we need a revision? This chapter was fairly clear, I think, and it's not so long. And do we need revision on it? I'll open up the WhatsApp group for a little while, and I'll put up a poll. If more people say we need revision, we'll just quickly take a class or two on revision, and otherwise move on to chapter 4. And when chapter 3 and 4 get concluded, maybe we'll have the retreat again, both chapter, because chapter 4 is also Karam Yoga continued. So we have these 2-3 options. I'll put up on the group and I'll go with what the majority feels. Okay. Can you end the class? And also an announcement, as I said before, August, there is going to be some personal family commitments which are going to be keeping me a little engaged. So I'm going to try and not cancel classes, but I may have to, especially towards the last part of after 15th, maybe more likely, maybe next week also, I will send the messages on the group if it is so. I'm trying very hard not to, but I cannot also compromise on the quality of the class and the content that needs to be conveyed. So if the mind is going to be involved in an obligation that has to be performed, then maybe we will. Just the warning, I mean, it's just information beforehand. Therefore, August could be a little erratic, but yeah. So we can end the class now.
ॐ सर्वेषां स्वस्तिर्भवतु, सर्वेषां शान्तिर्भवतु, सर्वेषां पूर्णं भवतु, सर्वेषां मङ्गलं भवतु, सर्वे भवन्तु सुखिनः, सर्वे सन्तु निरामयाः, सर्वे भद्राणि पश्यन्तु, मा कश्चित् दुःखात् भवेत्। असतो मा सत्कमय, तमसो मा ज्योतिर्गमय, मृत्योर्मा अमृतं गमय। ॐ स्वस्ति प्रजाभिः परिपालयन्तां न्यायेन मार्गेण महिषाः, गोब्राह्मणेभ्यः शुभमस्तु नित्यं, लोकाः समस्ताः सुखिनो भवन्तु, काले वर्षतु पर्जन्यः, पृथ्वी सस्यशालिनी, देशोऽयं शोभरहितः, ब्राह्मणाः सन्तु निर्भयाः। ॐ शान्ति शान्ति शान्ति।
Yes, wonderful. Thank you so much. Dhanyavad. And again, just again a caution, Divya. If you reduce the speed before you get into the habit of pronouncing everything quickly, and maybe one or two places you need to be a little careful about the matra, dirgh and rasva. Just a little before it get, then you can pick up the speed once again. So, yes, thank you so much. Hari Om, everyone. I need to Hari Om. God bless. Hari Om.
Recording stopped.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you so much.
Deepti, just a question.
Yeah.
Okay. So Deepti, when you